there, welcome back to Simple Sacred Home. My name is Paige, and in today's video we are actually starting a two-part series all about outdoor and summer homemaking and hospitality. Today's video, I'm going to take you through all of my preparation and my thought process for preparing to host an event at my home. And then next week's video, we're actually going to take you the day before and the day of the event to walk you through actually how things play out and a real seamless timeline of how we prepare and get everything done. If you are new here, this channel is all about simple living and creating sacred spaces at home. And within that, we talk about a lot of different topics: simple living, homemaking. I like to show how I create my sacred spaces at home through a lot of antique, vintage, and thrifted finds. And hospitality and hosting is also a part of that. So I'm really excited to bring you through this series. I hope you guys will enjoy it. And if you are interested in topics all about the home, then make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss a video. I post a new video every week. So when me and my husband got married almost 4 years ago now, I always had the desire to host. It was something that I was really excited for. And then basically as soon as I got married and had an opportunity to start hosting, I realized that it was a lot more overwhelming and stressful than I was anticipating. And a lot of that is because of the way that I would prepare or the lack of preparing in advance for hosting. And then also a lot of it does come down to the season of life we're in and different aspects like that. I wanted to make it clear in the beginning of this video that there are so many ways to be hospitable and to open your home without having a large event or a large gathering. You can host one family at a time, one mom at a time. You can bring people in for different Bible studies, different events like that from your community. And so while in this video, I'm going to be talking you through the preparation for a little bit of a larger gathering and some more of a special event in the sense of like it's a holiday party or something like that. That is what I'm going to be talking about specifically in this video, but I think these tips are still very helpful. I just want to make it clear that you don't have to have a large, extravagant party or event to be hospitable or to host, and have a small home with limited resources and still be able to open your door and invite people in. Whether you're new to hosting or you just are overwhelmed by the idea of hosting, summer is a great time to get out of your comfort zone and invite people over, because if you have any type of outdoor living space, you automatically add so much extra square footage to be able to host. So for example, if you have a small home and so it's hard to invite a lot of people in, or maybe you're in the process of renovations. Something in our home is that we have multiple walls in our home that are half painted. And while I don't let that stop us from hosting, it definitely is something that makes me think like, oh, I should really get to that project before I invite people in. And I think a lot of people do that. We never end up inviting people over because there's always something that we could be doing or could work on in the home. And so let that just be an encouragement to you that if you're worried about that, just host, because ultimately those memories are going to stay around much longer than the way that your house looked. And those memories you'll never be able to get back. So enjoy them and take advantage of hosting. I will say though, the last time we hosted was back in December, and we hosted a holiday party and we had about 15 people or so, and it was tight in the home. Like, we have a very small living room, we have a really small kitchen area, and so there's only so much space for people to move around. And so I was very excited as the weather started to get nicer to be able to invite people over and have everyone outside, because it just gives us much more room to move around and be comfortable and not feel super crammed in the house. All right, now that I've gotten those little disclaimers out of the way, let's get into the actual preparation. So the first step is really basic and straightforward, but it is to decide that you want to host. If you're deciding you want to host, it's deciding when you want to host. So this is really important. I've been invited to a lot of things, and I've also invited other people to a lot of things. And what I found is that if you're inviting more than one family, everybody's lives and schedules are very different. So you have to go into hosting knowing that not everybody that you invite is likely going to be able to attend. And if you wait until everyone can attend, you'll probably never end up having the event. So I like to plan at least a month in advance because I want to give myself enough time and our family enough time to pick a date that's going to work best for us. Typically what I do is I pick a date that's at least a month out, and I make sure that I don't have a ton of scheduled plans leading up to that. So I have time to make sure the house is in order the way that I would like it to. If there's yard projects that need to get done, like cleaning up, things like that, that we have time to get that done. And also that way I'm not stressed about it, because the last thing that I want to do is feel overwhelmed leading up to hosting. Pick a date at least a month out, and once I have the date locked in, I send out an invitation. So I like to use Canva. The free version has tons of templates on there, invitation templates. I usually like to pick a theme. This is not a necessity, but at Christmas time I did a gingerbread theme, and so the invitation had gingerbread on it, and then the day of we had gingerbread men that I made from scratch. We had a gingerbread house decorating competition, things like that. I think having a theme is really cute, especially if you're doing something special. And because we haven't hosted since December, I thought it would be fun to have a outdoor summer traditional barbecue theme. And we decided that we were going to host a 4th of July. So red, white, and blue, America. That's kind of the overall theme, like basic summer backyard barbecue theme. So I just went on Canva, I found a invitation template, and I just customized it to make it fit the theme that we were going for. And then I put on there the date, the time, any other information. I like to have those that I invite send an RSVP by a certain date, just so I can prepare how much food we need and things like that. So put on there if there is anything, like if you decide that you want your guests to bring something, you can put that on there. We did ask that if anybody has like lawn chairs to bring those, because we have limited outdoor seating, and so if people have their own lawn chairs, that would be super helpful so that everybody has a seat. And I said brownie points. I put on the invitation brownie points to anybody who wears red, white, or blue. Not a requirement to come. We want everybody to be able to come in freely without worrying about spending money or feeling like they need to bring anything. I also like to send out the invitation a month to a month and a half in advance, which to some of you guys might sound crazy, but what I found is that by sending an invitation out a month to a month and a half in advance, that gives people time to make sure that if their schedule isn't booked, that they don't book something if they do want to attend. And most people don't have more than a month booked out unless they're going on a vacation or something like that. If you try to invite them the week before or even 2 weeks out, they likely probably already have some kind of plans for that weekend, and then they're not going to be able to attend. So I send out the invitation, like I said, a month to a month and a half in advance, and then I just put an RSVP date on there. So I don't expect them to answer right away if they're going to be able to attend, but I just ask them to RSVP by the date on the invitation, just so that I can prepare in terms of quantity of food and things like that. Send a reminder text 1 to 2 weeks in advance just to remind people, because it has been a month of time. Of course, some things are going to slip people's mind. So I found that that is super helpful. And I've personally found that sending the invite at least a month in advance gives people plenty of time to mark that on their calendar, and they usually can always attend. Of course, in the summer, you might be competing with other events, vacations, so you have to keep that in mind. But for the most part, I found that a month is a good amount of time to notify somebody in advance about your event. And because we wanted this to be really an outdoor event, I didn't want to worry about if the day of it ends up raining. So we actually have a rain date for the following weekend. And the other thing that we consider is we just go into it knowing that not everybody is always going to be able to attend. That's okay. We're still going to host on that particular day. I've seen cases where you send out an invite everybody to come over, everybody already has plans, and so then you just end up canceling it. And obviously there are times when that just works out best, but I found that even if only one family could end up showing up, we still want to host that day and we still want to be hospitable that day. So it's okay if we invite 5 or 6 families and only one can show up. That is okay. We're still going to host. We can just adjust our food and things like that. And that's why we recommend adding the RSVP on there. Okay, so once you have decided when you're going to host, if you're going to have a theme, who you're inviting, when the actual event is, now it is time to start thinking. Don't wait until the week before to start thinking about these things. I think right away. So a month out, I start thinking about, okay, this is the theme. It's traditional summer barbecue, 4th of July themed. So what do we want to have for food? So I literally write down on a notebook, or you can put it on your phone, a list, and I write down all of the food items that we're gonna need for that event. So we're gonna do like hamburgers and hot dogs, macaroni salad, regular salad. I'm gonna do individual bags of chips, cheese and crackers, like a charcuterie board style, just a small one. We're gonna do watermelon. I'm gonna make my sourdough chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna do for the sourdough chocolate chip cookies as a way to prepare so that I'm not overwhelmed as the weekend approaches or the day of the event approaches. I'm actually gonna make that sourdough cookie mix in advance, and I'm gonna freeze it, and then I'm gonna pull it out the day before when I'm ready to make it. And that will save you a ton of time. So think of what you can do in advance and prepare in advance for those things so that you're not overwhelmed the weekend that you're trying to host. We're also gonna have those red, white, and blue popsicles that are fun. And I'm gonna do one other 4th of July themed food, like a snack. I haven't officially decided which one, so I do need to go on Pinterest and nail that down and figure out exactly what I want to do. But I do know that I'm gonna make one extra thing, so that's already in the back of my mind. And then as far as drinks, we're gonna do homemade lemonade. I have a dispenser that's really pretty, that's like crystal, that I can display the lemonade in. That's like our traditional, whenever we host, I've done Shirley Temples, I've done another like holiday mix and like a fruit punch mix, and now we're gonna do lemonade. It's just really fun and something I enjoy doing. And then we'll just have water and probably a few sodas just for anybody who doesn't want lemonade. And then aside from that, we just need toppings for the hamburgers and hot dogs. So think lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles, ketchup, mustard, relish, those type of things, whatever you and your family and friends like. So I already have that all listed out, ready to go. And so as it gets a little bit closer, I can either mobile order. I love doing that, especially for a big party like that. Or if you don't trust your mobile order for that, you can go into the store and you have your list and you know exactly what you need. Okay, so once you have the food, that's one of the big things when you're hosting, right? Deciding what you want for actual food. Then I like to think about what else do I need? So if you're just hosting a small event or you're not having a theme, you're not trying to go all out, then you might not need anything else, right? You're making food, you eat off the dishes that you already have, and that's it, right? And everybody just comes over and you have a great time. If I'm following a theme, I like to have a few like themed items. So because this is going to be 4th of July, I'm going to have American flag themed little like wooden flags that I'm going to put into centerpieces. I have red and white checkered tablecloths for the tables outside. Some other things that I'm considering when deciding what we need is if you are going to do any kind of cutlery, paper plates, reusable plates, napkins, things like that, you can decide what you need based on your event and what you want to do. Planning on doing a combination of the two. So I actually got some plates and napkins from Home Goods for a pretty good price, and then I'm going to mix those in with our regular dishware that is blue and white since it's 4th of July themed. I thought that would be pretty, and my dishware did come from the thrift store. So if you didn't have anything that you wanted to use but you would prefer not to use like paper or plastic for an event, you can always run to the thrift store and you can usually find some glassware, dishware for a reasonable price. And you could have that as your designated dishware for when you do host, but I just use whatever we have and then pick up some extra things. Because it is 4th of July, we also want to get some sparklers so that we can do sparklers, especially with the smaller children that will be there. And then also we want to get a pop-up tent. We saw these at Walmart for a reasonable price. I just want to get a white one because these tents will come in handy for future events as well. Because this is our first time hosting outdoors in our current home, we don't really have anything outdoors to help us entertain. So if we want to be able to do that in the future as well, we're going to invest in a few things up front now that will help us in the future. In addition to the pop-up tent, just to give us some shade if it's a really warm day, because we don't have a ton of shade in our backyard. We also are going to get some additional twinkle lights. We are in the process of building, or my husband is building, a garden in the center of our yard, and so he's been working really hard to get the fence finished. And so we want to be able to string twinkle lights across the entire fence of the garden. It's a good sized garden, and so we're going to need some more of those solar powered twinkle lights, so we need to grab those. Once again, these are not requirements to hosting, but these are just little things, little touches that we personally want to do. And then we also need to work on our fire pit area. We have an idea using barrels. And concrete to construct these wooden posts that are going to string twinkle lights, which I'm very excited about. Another thing that I didn't mention on here, but that we'll definitely need, is we want to do s'mores and have a campfire. So I'm going to need to get graham crackers, marshmallows, and chocolate, and also some new s'mores sticks for the marshmallows. So something like I mentioned earlier is that because we're doing a theme, we had so much fun during the holiday season when we had the gingerbread theme. I had mentioned in the invitation that if anyone wanted to, they weren't required to show up, but if they wanted to wear like an ugly Christmas sweater or something like that, that would be really fun. And so a lot of people I think everybody ended up wearing something that was like an ugly sweater. A couple people had like Christmas onesies, which was so fun and such a great time. So I wanted to do something similar for this event. So we said red, white, and blue. If you wear something red, white, or blue, then bonus points, like nothing actually happens, but it's just fun. I can't imagine just welcoming everybody and everybody's just decked out in red, white, and blue. I thought that would be really fun, and so I'm excited for that. I have a feeling everybody will participate, but we'll see. Those little things that make it a little bit more fun and just memorable. I actually found a red, white, and blue dress, which is so over the top, but it's really cute. It actually looks like an American flag. And you'll have to come back to next week's video if you want to see that, because it is really cute. I found it on Amazon. Other than that, the other couple things that I'm thinking about is centerpieces. So not going crazy because we're going to be outside. You have to consider wind and things like that. So I don't want anything crazy out there, but I want to do a centerpiece on each table. There's only going to be 2 tables outside, and then we're going to keep all the food inside. So we will be grilling on the deck. So my husband will go out there and grill. And then once all the food is grilled, he'll bring that in, and I'll have all of the food laid out on the kitchen counter and the table in the kitchen. So I'm going to do 1 centerpiece in the kitchen and then 2 centerpieces outside. My plan is to do white hydrangeas with the little American flags tucked into them. I don't know if our hydrangeas are going to be ready for July, so I might not be able to use them. If I can't, then I'm just gonna run to the store and find whatever red, white, or blue flowers I can get my hands on. So that's what I'm gonna do for centerpieces. The other thing to consider is entertainment. So obviously at least for us, the entertainment really is just being together, right? It's so hard to get everybody together, and so if there's an opportunity where everyone's together, it's just a time to catch up. It's a time to make memories together, talk about what's going on in our lives, and just having fun together. But there are a couple of fun things that you can do outdoors. If you were going all out, you could do, if you have kids, you could do like a bouncy house or volleyball. Volleyball is so fun. If you have people that would be willing to play, you can put up a volleyball net and play that way. I've seen some portable pickleball sets, which would be really fun if your family enjoys or friends enjoy pickleball. I decided to get giant Jenga and also cornhole because those are just classics that are so fun for the summer and that you can use for years and years to come. So I did grab those because I know that we'll use them for many years to come in the future. So I did grab those up front. We're also going to have the fire with the fire pit so people can roast s'mores as it gets darker and later into the evening. And then besides that, like playing some music in the background can be fun. You can make a Spotify playlist or pick a Spotify playlist and have a themed music going in the background, which is really fun as well. There's so many different things you can do that can make the event memorable and fun for everybody. And while it seems like a lot when you look at everything and break things down, if you plan everything in advance, which is what I would recommend to not be overwhelmed and stressed, if you plan everything in advance, you can really take things one step at a time. It seems like more than it really is. What it comes down to is you're hosting an event, the day that you're hosting the event, if you have any kind of theme, what you're having for food, and what you're doing for entertainment. So you can have that be as elaborate or as simple and low-key as you would like. So there's so many opportunities. Once again, home goods is great for little decor pieces or themed items, cutlery, things like that if you want to go that route. Also the thrift store, you can get really good prices. Although the thrift store, which I've mentioned in the past, is starting to get a little pricey because everybody's thrifting these days. So just be careful of that. But if you are looking for tablecloths or specific dishware, glassware, things like that, definitely check the thrift store before you go on like Amazon or even Home Goods. All right, so those are all the things that I am considering when I'm preparing to host, and specifically for an outdoor event. I hope this was helpful to you. If you are excited to host, if you're overwhelmed to host, wherever you are, I hope that this is helpful to give you just some pillars to think about and to prepare in advance. It's the biggest thing that I can recommend. And make sure that you come back next week to actually see what everything looks like as I'm setting it up, as I'm preparing for it, and actually the day of how everything looks and turns out. And I'm very excited to share that with you guys.